You're listening to FA Cup Game Day on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus. Fees applied to delivery orders subject to availability. Price may vary. Arsenal and Wigan players are out on the pitch. There is a history to this fixture here at the Emirates. Wigan won here to stay up. The following year they got relegated here just days after winning the FA Cup final. And this is the fixture. If you remember where Arsenal played Wigan, Emmanuel Aboué came on as sub for Arsenal, was so bad he got booed by the Arsenal fans and was subbed again by Arsene Wenger and went off in tears. That's what Arsenal fans can do to you. And that was against Wigan. There's some history to this fixture, no doubt. Will they create more history with this fixture, this cup tie today? The best team in the country taking on one of the worst. Arsenal against Wigan, live and exclusive on Talksport. Here's a man who scored in an FA Cup final, Stuart Pearce, alongside your commentator, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Adrian. Good afternoon once again. We all love the magic of the FA Cup, and you really have to believe in it here today. Arsenal 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League, still on course for a clean sweep of 4 trophies. Meet Wigan, 22nd in League One, without a manager and with only 1 point in their last 7 games. Of course, both teams show changes from midweek. Arsenal, of course, always rotate, but always seem to be strong. Mosquera, Eze and Madueke, the only players who are retained from that 1-1 draw with Brentford on Thursday. But the side is hardly weakened in many areas, with players like Martinelli, who scored a hat-trick in the previous round, Gabriel Jesus and Ricardo Calafiori coming back into the side. William Saliba is available again following illness. And Wigan, with 3 changes from their home defeat against Reading, a damaging loss which has left them deep in trouble towards the foot of League One. Matt Smith, the former Arsenal youngster, left out along with their match winner from the 3rd round at Preston, Harrison Batoni, and Christian Sadi. Owen Moxon, Rafael Borges Rodriguez and Joe Taylor, who scored on Tuesday night, all come into the team. So the Arsenal team is Kepa in goal, White, Mosquera, Saliba and Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, Norgard and Eze in midfield, with Madueke and Martinelli supporting Jesus in attack. The Wigan team, Tickle in goal, Aimson, Kerr and Fox the back 3, Hunt and Murray in the wide areas, Weir and Moxon holding in midfield, with Rodriguez and Wright in support of Taylor in attack. Alongside me today, the former Wealdstone fullback Stuart Pearce. And Stuart, looking at this Arsenal team, it's a big day for someone like Lewis Skelly. He wants an opportunity in midfield, and this is it.
Well, it certainly is. You know, last year he breaks into the England squad. He's playing left back for England. You think, well, his career rise is just going to go on and on from there. And he's probably not had enough game time, certainly for a young man of his age at the moment. So it's a great opportunity for him. I'm looking at, we thought he might play in that holding role position. He seems to have started at left back. Would that be correct?
Well, it could be a back 3 as well, with, of course, Norgard and Saliba in there as well. As Wigan looking to attack in their black shirts, attacking the goal away to our left in the first half. And Borges Rodriguez was involved, and he's won a throw-in. And the Wigan fans have certainly turned up in their numbers, no doubting the magic of the FA Cup for them. They have sold out their allocation away to our left-hand side. They curl around the corner flag on the far side, and almost the entirety of that lower tier away to our right, as Arsenal look to clear the ball away again. It's a high ball up towards Gabriel Jesus, but it's headed away by Aimson, and it will be a throw-in to Arsenal on the far side. And it feels important for Wigan to try and stand firm in the opening 10 minutes, and for maybe some of their players not used to this environment to get a measure of it.
Yeah, in any game, no matter where it is, Nigel, you need to get a foothold in the game, silence the home crowd down. No more so than here. And as I say, I was looking for Calafiori and I couldn't see him at all. And as I say, Saka is playing for him, so he must have made a swap just before the kick-off. Maybe an injury in the warm-up there, Nigel.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka is definitely out there as Wigan win the ball back inside the Arsenal half. It's now with Fox, and it's all the way across to Jason Kerr, who came into the side once again in the game against Reading on Tuesday. And Saka has come into the team for Calafiori, and he will now captain the side. And they also have a youngster, Kedesh O'Neill, who has come onto the bench. Arsenal confirming that very late in the day following the warm-up. Of course, Calafiori has had his injury issues at times this season as the rain starts to absolutely teem down here. It was a very wet journey for those Wigan fans down to North London this morning. The rain eased for a couple of hours before kick-off, but it's now returned with a vengeance.
I think the difference that will make, Saka's come in and he's playing just behind Jesus in a number 10 role, and Eza will just drop back and play almost alongside Norgard, but with an onus at getting forward slightly.
The Madueke wide on this near side is free for a moment, and Saliba will find him. And now Madueke will try and check in field beyond Megan Fox, and it's quickly forward towards Saka again. And we often see players these days come into sides late in the day, and of course, if you're ready to play, you're ready to play, even if it's on the bench. But Norgard will bring it forward now for Arsenal. 3 minutes played here, live and exclusive to national radio on Talksport. Arsenal 0, Wigan 0 in the Emirates FA Cup fourth round, as Madueke almost gets beyond the challenge of Williamson on this near side, and Madueke got the final touch, and it will be a throw into Wigan, 5 or 6 yards from the corner flag down their left.
Yeah, there's a combination here of Arsenal knocking the ball around rather well, and Wigan probably just not getting tight enough on arrival of the ball, and Arsenal were enjoying these first few moments.
And these two clubs 65 places apart, and their last meeting came in the semi-final back in 2014 when Wigan were the FA Cup holders, and they were on their way to another final before Per Mertesacker came up with a late equalising goal, and then Arsenal won on penalties as Saliba will guide it back towards Kepa, wearing all yellow, defending the Arsenal goal away to our left. And a very good crowd here today. Not too many empty seats, if any. Maybe one or two in the top tier. But as often in occasions like this, it's a case of maybe the Arsenal team looking to lift the crowd at the moment. 4.5 minutes played. 0-0. And Wigan looking to retain their defensive shape.
Yeah, we thought, Nigel, that they might play a 5, Wigan. I'm not so sure it's flattening out to a 4 on occasion here, I'm thinking.
And they do have Rafael Borges Rodriguez trying to tuck in on the far side, the right as well, the young Australian on loan from Coventry. Now it's played long downfield, seeking out Joe Taylor, who almost wins it. Then it's headed away by Saliba. And now Saka will try and come in field for Arsenal again. And plays it wide to Lewis Skelly, who comes in field beyond the first challenge, but not the second one for Moxon. But Arsenal win it back. Martinelli on the far side. Again, the Wigan players trying to get close to him, and in the end, he was fouled by Hunt, and it will be a free kick. Played forward quickly, but Aimson is able to hammer the ball to safety. And now Moxon nodding it towards Taylor, who could be a very lonely lone striker if Wigan don't give him the service, but Arsenal have it back again. Arsenal winning 4-1 at Portsmouth in the previous round. All 4 of their goals coming from set pieces, and already this season, having played only one game, they've created the most set piece goals right across the FA Cup. As it's cleared downfield by Tickle, looking for Taylor, who is not the tallest. He was supported by Murray, who came in field, but now Arsenal have it with Jesus midway inside the Wigan half, and it's wide to Madueke, back inside to Jesus, right side of the penalty area, turns onto his left foot, doesn't get the shot in, but then Madueke closing down the clearance from Aimson. White, one or two Arsenal fans around us wondering why Jesus didn't take a shot there. Here is Mosquera, and Wigan very deep, everybody bar Taylor behind the ball. Eze again, wide towards Madueke, 3 in the centre, Madueke chopping back onto his right foot, and then the left again. Then it's laid square towards Eze. Low right foot shot from him. Took a deflection, and it will be the game's first corner.
Yeah, it's evident at this early stage that Fox, sort of playing at left back for Wigan, is going to have to get out here and engage Madueke, and unless they double up or stop the ball going into feet, he's going to have a very, very tough afternoon. Madueke causes all kinds of problems in the Premier League, let alone in a cup tie against a team a few leagues lower than yourselves.
Tim Robinson, the referee, gave the corner. One or two Wigan players were suggesting it came off an Arsenal boot, but Eze will take this in front of all of those Wigan fans on the far side, but the referee will just halt play initially to sort out something he believed he saw inside the penalty area.
Yeah, still don't get that, Nige, why the referee stops it and says don't foul anybody before the ball comes in. Just let them get on with it.
It's played short towards Saka. And now back out to Lewis Skelly, who now comes inside the penalty area, hits it left-footed and not too far over the top. Big day for Miles Lewis Skelly in many ways, given the opportunity in midfield and looking to show his attacking intent there.
Yeah, he's done really well there. He's just leant outside, took the ball to his left and then unloaded a shot. He's just got under it slightly too much. It was coming through bodies. If he'd have kept it low, and would have caused a lot of problems for Tickle.
8 of this Arsenal starting lineup played at Portsmouth in the previous round, as Mikel Arteta makes his way out towards the edge of the Arsenal technical area in very heavy rain here, as it's nodded forward by Kerr for Wigan. 8.5 minutes played here on Talksport, 0-0. And it's been a day for the away team so far. Leeds winning at Birmingham on penalties, following a 1-1 draw. And it finished 1-0 for Wolves at Grimsby on a very muddy pitch at Blundell Park. Fulham coming from behind to beat Stoke 2-1, and Sunderland winning 1-0 at Oxford. Madueke coming forward again. He looked to find White on the outside, but the ball was beyond him, and it's behind for a goal kick. And again, Madueke causing some problems. I think White was trying to stay onside, and he would have failed anyway.
Yeah, I think he's just overrun. He was waiting for the ball slightly earlier. What I like about Madueke, he goes at pace at you. If you drew a line between ball, defender and goal, he's going straight for the goal, and that is a real problem for any defender.
Saka, who came into the side for the injured Calafiore during the warm-up. And now Norgard, a rare opportunity for him. Madueke on this near side, back towards the Arsenal captain today, Ben White, although he was the captain, and now the armband has been handed on to Saka. Here is Saliba. Wigan had 2 difficult ties in the early rounds. Had to overcome both Hemel Hempstead Town. But here's an opportunity for Madueke, and he makes no mistake, right down the centre. An excellent ball to find him. A huge gaping hole at the heart of the Wigan defence, and Madueke very coolly slipped it under Tickle. And maybe that's a taste of things to come. Arsenal lead 1-0.
Well, mentioned Madueke only a few moments ago about his attributes with the ball. On that occasion, he showed his mentality to run without the ball. Just come off the line and cut inside both full-back and central defender. They've not been bright enough to pick it up. They've switched off a little bit. You can't do that. Fox has just had a look over his shoulder to see where he was. By the time he's looked back, Madueke's gone inside him, and he slotted it away with aplomb.
Really good vision from Eze. But as you say, Madueke made that run from a very wide area, and nobody picked him up.
Yeah, I mean, the key is when you're defending, defend narrow and keep them outside you. You cannot afford, once they get inside you there, the quality of the pass was that good. He just come onto it, didn't have any control problems whatsoever.
Arsenal lead by a 1-0 in the 10th minute. And Noni Madueke scoring his 5th of the season. 4 of those have now come in cup competitions, as Aimson tries to win it back for Wigan, deep inside the Arsenal half, fouls Gabriel Jesus, and it's Ben White coming forward now from the quickly taken free kick as Arsenal look to turn Wigan around very quickly, and Kerr comes across to hammer the ball out of play.
I'll tell you what I like about Arsenal, Nigel. They'll outplay you, but if you want a battle at the moment, they're like an old school Arsenal team. They'll outfight you as well, and they've got both elements of their game, which makes them such a good side.
And you're listening to the FA Cup on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees applied to delivery orders, subject to availability. Price may vary. Norgard sweeps it wide now to the far side, and Martinelli. He will try and check back infield. He's got support from Eze, but Wigan quickly recover it, and it's played long over the top, looking for Taylor, and Kepa fully 40-50 yards out of his goal there to nod the ball out of play, and Wigan have a throw-in. And they take it quickly, looking for Taylor. No real support for him as the red shirts converge on him, and Eze will clip it over the top again, and the flag's up for offside against Jesus.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of talk beforehand about how important this game is for Lewis Skelly. I also think, Nigel, as well, it's important for Eze as well. You know, he was taken off, I think, at Brentford in the week when they were chasing a goal and whatever, and he didn't have the impact I was expecting from him. So these games are really important for him to come away and have a good slant on the Man of the Match award, I think.
In Scotland, it's finished Motherwell 2, Aberdeen 0. Goalless at Ibrox in the early stages between Rangers and Hearts after Celtic came from 2 down earlier on to win 3-2 at Kilmarnock, as a Wigan attack is quickly snuffed out. Played forward by Mosquera into the path of Eze, who was having his shirt pulled there, but no free kick as Moxon retreats. And now White has got so much room to find Madueke, and Morgan Fox really needs some help out here.
Yeah, he does. He got the help from Ben White, bizarrely, you know, because Ben White took the ground and took a midfield player into a covering position where he should have just left Madueke on his own.
Now White again. Back towards Saliba. And Eze looking to run this game from a slightly deeper role. Finds Lewis Skelly, and here is Martinelli on the Arsenal left, and it's been a dominant performance from the Gunners so far. 14 minutes played on Talksport, leading by a goal to nil. Jesus back towards Eze. He then spins into the penalty area, but Wigan win it back. Good challenge by Wright, and then Taylor just slips at the crucial moment as he tries to burst away from Saliba close to the halfway line. Arsenal have the ball back with Martinelli. Glenn Whelan, the joint interim manager for Wigan, is out on the edge of the technical area, and he's got the look of a man at the moment who's not quite sure what he could do and what his players can do here.
No, they're up against it without a doubt. Just just guilty of overplaying slightly, too many touches, and on the break there, Taylor, good opportunity, just lost his footing with support coming.
Now Saliba, midway inside the Wigan half, Saka, and he's been tumbled by Callum Wright, and it will be a free kick. Wright was part of the Plymouth team which beat Liverpool in the third round last season. But a very different story here so far at the Emirates Stadium. Norgard, square towards Lewis Skelly. And here is Martinelli now looking to tease Rodriguez. And it's swung into the penalty area at the near post, where it's cleared away by Moxon. And now White again. Incessant Arsenal pressure at the moment. And White makes the run beyond Madueke towards the byline. Clips it in field, seeking out Saka, but doesn't find him. Wigan will clear, but again Taylor is trying to win it back from Saliba, and fair play to him, he was game. I think he was fouling Saliba, but he still got nowhere near the ball.
Yeah, only about 4 fouls in that interaction.
Just the 4.
Yeah, well done the referee though, let him play go. Arsenal moving the ball around quite well. If I was Ben White now, I wouldn't come and start overlapping and underlapping Madueke. I would drop back, pull the Wigan marker away from him and just leave him one-on-one.
At the moment, Ben White is close to the centre-forward position as Madueke comes forward now again. Jinks in field. And he's got support from Eze, and Eze with a great ball wide to this near side, and it was Fox who just got a touch on it, but White was offside anyway.
See, White's made 2 overlapping runs at the moment, and he's been offside twice. If I was him, just support from behind. When your winger's got the full-back on toast, leave it with them. You support from behind at that stage. When they're struggling to get past them, that's when they need you as a decoy run. But what do I know, Nigel?
Well, you were the underlapping full-back, weren't you?
Well, that's because I used to dominate the player playing outside me, you know.
17 minutes played here. Arsenal leading by a goal to 0. Let's check in on the action at Ibrox. Big game in Scotland today. Rangers against Hearts with Talksport's David Tanner.
And it's Rangers 0, Hearts 0, and this is the first real big attack of the game at the moment. A chance for Hearts, and it's a super goal for the league leaders. And it's Mark Leonard who gets the goal from 20 yards out. And after no chances in the first 16 minutes, there's the first chance, and there's the first goal. Rangers 0, league leaders Hearts 1.
Well, a good moment to go there. And if it stays like that, that would be such a significant win for Hearts if they can hold on to that or build on it, leading at Ibrox by a goal to 0. Of course, they had that very emotional late win in the Edinburgh Derby last week as well. Eze forward now towards Martinelli, breaks into the penalty area on the left-hand side, and he finishes superbly. And Arsenal are making very short work of Wigan Athletic here. Once again, the pace and the vision, too much for the League One strugglers, and it was Martinelli this time, a hat-trick in the previous round, who swept into the penalty area on the left. Eze with another perceptive assist, and he made no mistake, and it's 2-0 already.
Well, as you say, the athleticism of Arsenal, the eye for a pass of Arsenal, really clever. We're just seeing the movement in the front line. Martinelli come across the front line first off. He's checked his run at the centre forward position, headed back out to his wide berth, and as he was doing that, a great ball through from Eze freed him up, and the clinical nature of their finishing has been evident.
But if you're Wigan, you can't play a high line like that. You'll get absolutely destroyed.
And they have been on 2 occasions. You've got to identify where the run's coming from way before the ball is going to be played. Once it's played, the athleticism of the Arsenal forwards, certainly in Madueke's case, and obviously Martinelli on that occasion, you'll never stay with them. You've got to identify it, play narrow and fill the gaps. So when people in midfield pick the ball up, they can't see a channel to pass through.
Well, it never rains, it pours. It's teeming down here. And those Wigan fans away to our right may be contemplating a very long early evening here in North London.
I think Krusty the Pie could be Soggy the Pie at the moment with the amount of rain we've got, Nigel.
The way things are going, I think I'll bring him on. It's back now on the far side with Jack Hunt. And even talking to Graham Barrow pitch side before kick-off, and I think there was a degree of realism in what he was saying. They knew it was going to be very tough here today. But there's been another goal at Ibrox in that big game in Scotland. Here's David Tanner.
And it's Ryan Naderi who scores for Rangers to make it Rangers 1, Hearts 1. After just 2 minutes after Mark Leonard gave Hearts the lead, it was a cross from the left. 2 tremendous saves from goalkeeper Alexander Swallow, and in the end it was forced in by Naderi from short, close range. His 3rd goal for his new club. Rangers 1, Hearts 1.
2-0 to Arsenal here as Ben White slithers over the byline trying to keep a ball in play down the Arsenal right, and it will be a goal kick. Don't forget, one more tie coming up following this one tomorrow night. Macclesfield against Brentford. Live on Talksport with Natalie Sawyer, Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend. Big game as well in the Championship tomorrow night. Live and exclusive on Talksport 2. The top 2, Coventry and Middlesbrough with Ollie Klink, Joe Shannon and Adrian Clark. And then on Tuesday, Adrian will have kick-off on Talksport with all the goals as they go in from the Champions League and the EFL. Benfica against Real Madrid. The start of the knockout playoffs will be live on Talksport 2 with Ian Danter and Dean Ashton at 8 o'clock. And then 5:45 on Wednesday, Newcastle travelling to Baku to meet Karabakh in their knockout first leg. And Darren Ambrose and Jim Proudfoot will bring you that commentary here on Talksport. We're following Arsenal once again to Molineux, where they will face Wolves, and Adrian and Stewart will be alongside Joe Shannon for that game. But every game, it feels, is a big game for Arsenal at the moment, and they'll be keen to get the win at Wolves, obviously, in any situation, but particularly with Manchester City closing the gap during the midweek round, as Arsenal come forward again here, leading 2-0 with 22 minutes played. Saka square towards Lewis Skelly, and now Martinelli, and Madueke scoring the 2 goals here in the opening 20 minutes. And Wigan have had no response, although their fans are looking to generate some noise away to our right-hand side. Here is Madueke, and again he's absolutely skated beyond Fox into the penalty area, finding Saka. He pulls it back, and it's almost an own goal. In the end, it was hooked in very close to the goal line by Madueke. In the end, 3-0 to Arsenal with 23 minutes played. And again, Noni Madueke, irresistible down the right-hand side. And when the cross was eventually delivered in, Wigan had no answer, and this could get very ugly for them.
Yeah, it cannoned off a Jack Hunt's head, I think. That'll go down as an own goal. But this is my whole point as a fullback. Just stay behind Madueke, leave him one-on-one, and Fox, well, he sold the crown jewels, really. And when it was pulled back across the face of goal, I think it's just cannoned off Jack Hunt's head, couldn't do a great deal about it. And this scoreline could turn into literally anything. Depends on Arsenal's intensity at this moment in time.
Well, Jesus got the first touch, and then it was Jack Hunt behind him who guided the ball up over Sam Tickle, who got a hand to it but couldn't keep it out. And it's 3-0 to Arsenal. And now Taylor on the break at the other end. He goes down inside the penalty area. Half-hearted appeals for a penalty. Taylor was actually stayed down, but they're waved away by Tim Robinson. And if you are Glenn Whelan and Graham Barrow, what on earth do you do here? It's not as if you can go to the bench and bring on 3 world-class players. Here is Martinelli through again. Tickle makes the save, but it's won back by Jesus inside the 6-yard area, and it's scrambled behind for a corner. Every time Arsenal come forward here, they look as though they're going to score.
Yeah, they do. The biggest problem they've got, whether they're a 4 or a 5, obviously they're starting with a 4, but sometimes a Wigan player will drop in to make a 5. They're not staying in sync. Players are dropping off, going with runners. They drop off. All of a sudden, they're playing other runners in onside, and that's the problem. And the athleticism that Arsenal are showing is there for all to see. As I say, this could be any score, just depends solely on Arsenal's intensity.
3 goals in 12 first half minutes. Here is Saka from the corner. He's got space on the right foot, fires it in low, and it ricochets out towards Martinelli. He tries a curler left-footed, closed down by Moxon, and it will spin out of play as the rain slightly eases on the far side for a throw-in here to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's fair to say from Wigan's point of view, it's a bad time to come and face Arsenal. They made changes in the ranks, but what they haven't diminished, whoever turns out for Arsenal, is the intensity that they're knocking the ball around, and that's a problem. And Madueke on this side certainly is causing a massive, massive problem. You've just got to shove the ball into his feet and leave him one-on-one. And
they've got players here who are maybe keen to make a point. They want to play in the first team on a more regular basis. Norgard, who is one of those, finding Eze. He spins and plays it over the top again. Saka was in behind Aimson, but this time the central defender was able to clear. Now White finding Eze again, and they can't live with him at the moment. He works it in towards Madueke, and it's hammered away by Fraser up towards the halfway line, where it's gathered by Kepa.
Yeah, I think Eze's played really well, but I think he's a little bit guilty of taking too many touches, Nige. Honestly, I think he could limit that a little bit.
Here's Jesus, a long ball forward, he's onside, and he dinks in number 4. 4-0 to Arsenal in the 27th minute. They are absolutely rampant here, and better teams than Wigan Athletic would not be able to live with them on this form. Another defence-splitting ball forward. The Wigan defence was nowhere, and Jesus able to saunter through, dink it over the goalkeeper Sam Tickle, and it's 4-0 to Arsenal.
Well, the travelling fans are absolutely crestfallen here. You know, they've come in massive, massive numbers, and at the moment Arsenal can break that line at will, really. Certain players are dropping off, certain players are staying up. 3 went up, we're looking at the replay here. 3 stood up. The far right backs ended up staying in slot. All of a sudden, there's only one outcome. As I say, this could be any score you want today. Jack Hunt's gone down now, injured, I think.
Well, Jesus with his 5th goal of the season, of course, still working his way back from a long-term ACL injury. And now Jack Hunt is down. One of the experienced players in the Wigan team. And you look at the Wigan fans away to our left. I wouldn't say they came here with great optimism. I think some of them may have come here with a large dose of realism, but their team are 4-0 down, and we've not played half an hour here. And of course, Gary Caldwell could be their new manager in the next week or so. Of course, in the 3rd round, his team Exeter conceded 10 at Manchester City, and maybe Arsenal have got eyes on a similar scoreline here. Let's go back to Ibrox in the meantime and join David Tanner once again.
27 minutes gone, it's Rangers 1, league leaders Hearts 1. Mark Leonard got the goal in 60 minutes for Hearts, and just 2.5 minutes later Rangers were level. It was actually an own goal scored by Michael Steinvender, who went to clear a ball under pressure from Rangers' Ryan Aderi, and he completely sliced it like one of my tee shots, a shocker into his own net from a yard out. Rangers 1, Hearts 1 at Ibrox.
Thanks, David. Wigan are about to make a change here as well, and Matt Smith, the former Arsenal youngster who we discussed before kick-off, an FA Cup winner with them, he is about to come on, and Jack Hunt unable to continue, and he has gone straight down the tunnel. So Smith, who also played in an FA Youth Cup final team for Arsenal, lost to Chelsea in the final in 2018, he will come on here, and I'm sure not the circumstances he would have dreamed of when the tie was drawn out. Less than half an hour played, and his team are 4-0 down. And as Stuart was saying, it really is a case of how many do Arsenal want to score here.
When you've got a team playing extremely well and on blob like Arsenal are, it develops a culture within the club, and you could see that from the first minute they're on the money. The energy levels, the passing ability, the work ethic within the team. So it doesn't matter what 11 are in these shirts at the moment for Arsenal. You think you're going to get a performance every week.
Now Norgard almost losing out to Murray. Wright will try and win it back for Wigan, and he does. He's got Taylor ahead of him, but again the challenge comes in from White. But Wigan have a free kick just inside the Arsenal half, and you can hear the ironic cheering from the Wigan fans. There may be some relief in that reaction as well, as they've got the opportunity here to get some players forward. And the stats so far, Arsenal with 77% possession, 7 shots, 3 on target. Of course, one of the goals was an own goal. Wigan without a single shot of any nature so far. And it's Fraser Murray who will take the free kick. Lofted high towards the far post. It's headed away and then hooked further clear by Norgard on the edge of the penalty area. Now Martinelli was at pace, and it was a good challenge by Jensen Weir on the halfway line to halt him. But here's Gabriel Jesus as Arsenal fasten onto the loose ball. Now Norgard. He's got Eze to his left, but it's forward towards Martinelli, and Norgard again. Looking out Lewis Skelly. Mosquera is the other option down the left-hand side, and here he is. And Arsenal now can look to change the point of the attack with Saliba. And Saka again who was a teammate of Matt Smith in Arsenal's development teams and was also on the bench when they won the Cup in 2020. And Saliba now has the opportunity to bring it forward. 31 minutes played here on Talksport. Arsenal leading by 4-0. And Arsenal convinced they should have had a throw-in on this near side. Did seem to take a deflection, but Wigan do have the ball back. And now Aimson will go all the way back to Tickle once again, who clears the ball wide towards the far side. We'll be back to Ibrox in a moment, but Jensen Weir brings it forward now for Wigan on the halfway line. Now Moxon, who has been brought into the side to try and create from the base of midfield, but has barely seen the ball. And Wigan now have it again with Aimson in their back five. So let's return to Ibrox and David Tanner.
And the league leaders are in front again. 30 minutes gone. Rangers 1, Hearts 2. It was a man who just scored an own goal, Steinbinder, who threw in a cross from the right, and a looping header by Claudio Braga back across goal, went past Jack Butland. Rangers 1, Hearts 2 now.
And that is a massive day for both of those clubs at Ibrox as Arsenal try and come forward again here, leading by 4-0. Manchester United, Manchester City and Liverpool are the only teams not to lose here so far this season. And it's fair to say that Wigan won't be adding themselves to that list here today. And of course they've got that match coming up against Wolves in midweek live on Talksport, then the North London derby away from home. Adrian just pointing out to me a banner in the away support, Wigan till I pie.
Brilliant.
They're not wrong. Tickle clears downfield again.
British humour at its best, I think we've just seen there.
Yeah. Well, the fact that mascot is Krusty the Pie really tells you all you need to know. But I mean, you'll know, being a massive rugby league fan, Wigan's often considered a rugby league town due to the strength of that side of the sporting environment. And for a club like Wigan, it can be often difficult. Yeah. Often it's the other way round with rugby league clubs, but not in this case.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, they're a powerhouse, the rugby team, for sure.
Now Wigan try and build. Wright flicks it on towards Taylor on the edge of the penalty area. He goes through, forces a good save from Kepa. Maybe the shot was too close to him, but Taylor was under pressure as he hit it, and Wigan have their first shot on goal.
Yeah, great opportunity there. A bit of a pinball really on the edge of the box, and Taylor's got in good body strength, and he just couldn't open up his body to get it into a corner at all.
Now Fox down the left, delivering the cross, and Kepa down on his haunches will gather at the near post, and he very quickly bowls out towards the halfway line. Saka, though, losing out to a sliding challenge from Aimson. But Arsenal quickly win it back, leading here by 4-0 with 10 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport. 774 clubs began in the FA Cup this season, and we are down to the final 19. Arsenal, the highest ranked team in the tournament. Of course, Macclesfield are the lowest ranked team, still alive in the FA Cup, and Mansfield, the only lower division team who are currently through to the fifth round draw, which takes place just after 6:30 tomorrow evening, as Saliba plays it square to Mosquera for Arsenal. 14-time winners, but they've not reached the fifth round in the last 5 seasons, which is their worst run in the Cup since the late 1940s. The last time they got to round 5 was when they won the Cup back in 2020. But I'm sure the longer the season goes on, if Arsenal remain in all 4 competitions, then the FA Cup will take on even greater importance as Saliba nods the ball away. And now Saka under pressure initially from Smith, although Smith just bowling him over, and it will be a free kick for Arsenal midway inside their own half.
Smith's offered a little bit of energy and bite in there since he's come on in the centre of midfield, which is probably what was needed. Too many Arsenal players too comfortable in possession with no pressure on them.
And Wigan just trying to engage a bit further up the field now. It's taken 4 Arsenal goals for them to do that, but maybe Arsenal just relaxing slightly as well with the situation in this game and so much of it still to play, as Norgard fighting Saka, and he was just body checked by Aimson midway inside the Wigan half, and it will be a free kick for Arsenal. And Bukayo Saka, of course, only recently back from a hip injury, but given an unexpected start here today with Calafiori injured in the warm-up and Saka coming into the side as a result, but it's made very little difference to the way Arsenal have played this game. Eze, who made the first 2 goals, is over the free kick here. And Wigan have pulled everybody, apart from Joe Taylor, back behind the ball. Eze going square to Saka, and now wide to Madueke, who's caused so many problems down the right-hand side. He's gone beyond Murray. The cross is very deep, and it's headed over the top by Mosquera, but it took a deflection on the way through. It will be a corner, and in the end it was really good defending at the far post by Rodriguez.
It certainly was. Once again, brilliant wing play, just feeding the ball out to Madueke, and Fox thought better of engaging him on this occasion and left it to Smith, but whoever it is facing him up one-on-one has got their hands full. Brilliant cross.
Eze will take the Arsenal corner once again. Jesus coming short. And Saliba trying to create some chaos inside the 6-yard area. Jesus now retreating to that area. And it's flighted high towards that far post, and Tickle has lost it, but then gathers at the second attempt inside the area. I think he may have collided with one of his teammates, and there's a side-winding clearance from him to find Taylor, who does well to control on the chest in the centre circle, and now plays it wide to this near side, and Moxon. He's got support on his outside from Murray on the Wigan left. And the cross into the penalty area, though, was a hopeful one from Murray, and in the end it's gathered by Kepa. You're listening to the FA Cup on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus, fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, price may vary.
This is what really good teams do, Nige, with a great mentality. They're 4-0 up, Arsenal.
And they could have more here. Norgard, the player forward. Sorry, Stuart.
Yeah, they're 4-0 up, Arsenal, and Wigan break from a corner. It ends up being one-on-one on the halfway line, and within a couple of seconds they secure the ball that Taylor does brilliantly. Within seconds, 8 Arsenal players are back, with only 2 Wigan players getting forward, and that shows such a mentality within the football club and a work ethic, and it shows you why, in my mind, they're going to go on to win things this year without a doubt.
And there's been another goal at Ibrox. Hearts were leading 2-1. Here's David Tanner.
Rangers 2, Hearts 2, and it's Yusuf Chermiti who gets only his 5th goal of the season. It was a break by Rangers. Chermiti picked it up inside the box just to the right, and he scored it from the right channel. Terrific equaliser for Rangers. 7 minutes until half-time. Rangers 2, Hearts 2.
Elsewhere today, Celtic coming from 2-0 down to win in added time at Kilmarnock 3-2. Here is Saka now inside the penalty area for Arsenal. His shot there was blocked by Moxon. It'll come out to Madueke. And now White down the Arsenal right-hand side. Norgard, who always seems to have so much time on the ball as Wigan retreat once again. And Saka, rather like a matador, is often beckoning the Wigan players towards him. And now Lewis Skelly will play it square towards Saliba as Wigan really retreat into a very deep formation, but it's not done them too much good so far. But Arsenal have given the ball away. Taylor will go back to the far side, and it's infield to Smith, and Smith turns but then gives the ball away, and Arsenal could counter-attack, but it's a really good challenge by Callum Wright, which was timely for Wigan on the far side. But as he tries to break, the challenge comes in from Eze, and it will be a throw into Wigan with 4 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport, and Arsenal leading 4-0.
Well, the good thing for Wigan is they've steadied the ship slightly. They've stopped Arsenal breaching their back line as readily as they did in the first 30 minutes or so. So that's something for Glenn Whelan to build on.
But now Smith has lost out on the edge of the penalty area. Here is Madueke in a central position, but he's challenged, and Moxon will bring the ball clear now for Wigan. 4 forward in this attack. He's got Taylor peeling away to the left-hand side, but he looks to the right. And Rodriguez, he comes in field smartly up towards the edge of the penalty area, hits it left-footed, and Kepa makes the save. But that's decent stuff from Wigan in the circumstances.
Yeah, good play there by Rodriguez. Done really well. Skipped inside 2 players, unloaded a decent shot. But Kepa kept his eye on it.
I'm sure Kepa will appreciate the employment in what's been a first half with long spells of inactivity so far. Norgard coming forward now. If you've just joined us, Arsenal taking an early grip on the game with 3 goals in the opening quarter. Madueke, Martinelli, and an own goal from Jack Hunt before Gabriel Jesus made it 4-0. As Arsenal come forward again, Martinelli with more tricky wing play. It's cleared away as far as Eze. Urged to shoot, but he's closed down by Moxon. Back out to Martinelli again on the right-hand side. He looks to shuffle into position here away from Weir, and he heads to the byline and then chops back yet again and then beats him a third time. Drives it in low, but Smith will clear the ball away with the help of Weir. But Arsenal, so eager without the ball, quickly win it back themselves.
Yeah, that's the side of their game that I'm enjoying watching as well, that work rate.
And now Norgard, high over the top, looking for Madueke, and he finds him, but the ball just skids away from him on a very wet playing surface, although the rain has now stopped here at the Emirates Stadium, and it will be a goal kick for Wigan.
Yeah, we might have a game where the goalie gets booked for time wasting, the Wigan goalie being 4 or 5 or 6-0 down in the second half, Nigel.
Well, Sam Tickle's had no chance so far. I think Mr. Tickle would have struggled with those extraordinary long arms the way the game has gone in the opening half an hour or so. Sorry.
You're more than welcome. Bag jokes are what get us through the day.
Now Martinelli nodding it down to Gabriel Jesus, and here is Saka bursting down the centre, just unable to gather. That would have been another terrific Arsenal goal, but Saka just unable to bring the ball under his spell. But again, Arsenal cutting through Wigan right down the centre. Here is Smith finding Fox. Williamson will take over, and as a former Exeter player, he may be reunited with his former manager next week if Gary Caldwell takes the vacancy at Wigan. He was on the bench for them when they won the FA Cup back in 2013, and then were relegated here 3 days later. Now a good ball forward towards Rodriguez, and the cross in is cleared away at the near post. And now Moxon for Wigan again on the left-hand side. Finding Smith, and there will be a minimum of 2 more minutes, mainly for the injury to Jack Hunt after the 4th goal. Still Rangers 2, Hearts 2 in the Scottish Premiership as Moxon clips it wide to the far side, seeking out Rodriguez, but all he can do is avoid the goal kick and knock it out of play on the stretch, and it will be a throw-in for Arsenal. And you mentioned that steal and the willingness to work without the ball, and I think Arsenal certainly maybe lost that for a spell in the recent history, and it's taken Arteta time to bring it back, but of course now he has done, and as a result they are where they are.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing at football clubs, I think. You know, all of a sudden you train the way you play and you take good habits into every match situation. Arsenal at the moment, as a football club, have got a lot of good habits on the football pitch, and that's all they're doing is probably mirroring what they do on the training pitch, that will to win.
Here is Saka. White makes the run on the overlap down the right-hand side. Madueke coming in field. Saka drifting away from the challenge of Moxon. Eze tries to play it back to Saka, who claims he was fouled by Smith, but Arsenal win it back anyway. Eze robbing Moxon, and now Norgard almost at walking pace forward towards Eze on the edge of the penalty area, but the challenge comes in from Moxon. And Arsenal playing keep ball as we head towards half-time here. And the game has gone in the way that many people intended. Arsenal in control, and they've added goals to that control as well. 4 in a 16-minute spell before the half hour. Wigan have improved since then. But really it's a case of how many can Arsenal score, or do they want to score in the second half. That is half-time. Warm applause around the Emirates Stadium for the Arsenal players as they make their way off. It has been one-way traffic in the main. Arsenal's quality shining through in that 16-minute spell when they scored all 4 of their goals. And already we can say the long wait to return to the FA Cup 5th round is coming to an end. At half-time, it is Arsenal 4, Wigan Athletic 0.
Well, they've stopped the flow of goals. That's one positive. I'm not entirely sure a comeback is on the cards in the second half, but at least it's not 5 or 6 by half-time. I want to know what advice Keith Andrews gave to Glenn Whelan after Thursday night's draw for Arsenal at Brentford. I'm not entirely convinced he would have said to him, go with a high line. I mean, that really caused Wigan a lot of problems. Could they not see that coming? You go with a high line, Arsenal are going to be too quick, too smart to have that stop them scoring goals, surely.
Yeah, where the problems lie is Arsenal players are making runs in behind. Players are tracking those runs, which is fine. But what it's doing is leaving a defender behind the other 3. So one tracks the run, which leaves 3 in front of him. Then all of a sudden it's not necessarily that player that goes through. It's another player who's being played onside by the Wigan player who's tracked the run. And listen, Arsenal are very clever at it. They've got plenty of room in midfield to find the pass. The runs are very good. And when they get beyond, there's no recovery runs from the Wigan players because the athleticism of the Arsenal players is that good.
The former Arsenal youngster Matt Smith came on. He's actually looked all right, hasn't he? And as far as he's concerned, it's 0-0. It was already 4-0 by the time he came on.
Yeah, I think he's probably improved them a little bit. You know, he's got a little bit of snap in there. He's getting tighter to people than I've seen a Wigan player do prior to him coming on. And what you've got to do, we saw it yesterday at Burton. Burton was snapping in and winning headers and winning that. I only see one team out there in red winning headers, winning tackles and trying to be a little bit unpleasant. And sadly, that's what Wigan probably had to do from the first minute.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued by that. You said in commentary, I made a note of it, about the Arsenal mentality. It doesn't matter whether it's against Wigan and they're comfortably winning an FA Cup tie, or it could be, I don't know, a game against Bayern Munich in the Champions League like earlier in the season, a big game against Manchester City in the Premier League. The mentality seems to be consistent from Arsenal, and probably this season that mentality more consistent than ever before.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's definitely been an improvement on that. People talk to me about Arsenal. They drop the odd point here and there on this run that they've been on, if you like. And people say to me, oh, do you think they've dropped off? Do you think? I said, no. I said the opposition have just played extremely well. Arsenal have kept their standards in near enough every game. I can't name a game. I mean, we covered the Brentford game in the week, and I thought it was only a brilliant Brentford performance that probably kept Arsenal away from all 3 points. So they're playing extremely well, Arsenal, and that's a cultural thing that comes from the training ground and probably comes in the consistency of a manager putting into place, signing new players and saying, this is what we do at this football club.
We've seen Martinelli on the left constantly entertaining drag backs. He's looking more and more Brazilian, if you like. Madueke on the right has been a threat. And it all means that Saka, who came into the 11 late, is probably playing as an 8, which I think is really... I've been intrigued by his performance in the first half, Bukayo Saka. It's another string to his bow, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's playing inside a little bit. Him and Eze are playing sort of probably a split pair of 8s, if you like, you know, which are plenty of time on the ball. The pair of them have got to make sure in this second half they almost keep moving it 2 touch, if you like, 1 and 2 touch. That kills the opposition. Don't overdo it. You're getting plenty of the ball, but feed your teammates. And the way Arsenal are playing, you mentioned them there. Martinelli one side, Madueke the other. Just keep giving them the ball one-on-one.
Yeah, they're absolutely tormenting their defenders, no doubt. Arsenal are basically through. It's whether Wigan can come up with anything to counter it in the second half and maybe get a bit of pride back. It's Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. What a first half in the Scottish Premiership at Ibrox. Talksport's David Tanner.
Well, Adrian, if these teams were demoralised by Celtic stoppage time winner, it hasn't shown. It's Rangers 2, Hearts 2 at the interval. The game burst into life when an unforced error by Rangers defender Emmanuel Fernandez gave possession to Mark Leonard, who worked a 1-2 and cracked home the opener from just inside the box. 2.5 minutes later, Rangers levelled. Hearts keeper Alexander Svolo saved a Yusuf Chermiti header. He touched Mikey Moore's rebound onto the bar, and as the ball landed at the feet of right back Michael Steinwender, he sliced his clearance into his own goal. It was Steinwender's cross from the right that helped Hearts go back in front 10 minutes later through a super header by Claudio Braga, his 11th goal of the season. And 5 minutes before the break, Rangers levelled again. Yusuf Chermiti placed the ball between the keeper and the near post. A high-octane first half. Can't wait for the second. Rangers 2, Hearts 2.
Yeah, it's been something else, that game earlier. Celtic 3-2 winners at Kilmarnock, having been 2-0 down. Celtic got the winner in the 97th minute. Motherwell beat Aberdeen 2-0 as well. Aberdeen struggling to make the top 6. Now let's focus on the FA Cup fourth round ties from earlier. All of them on the Talksport network. Earlier you heard Leeds narrowly beat Birmingham. It was 4-2 on penalties after a 1-1 draw. And Daniel Fargo, the Leeds manager, admitted it was a difficult encounter.
Yes, tough game. Of course, it was always a tough game. Away game at Championship side, stadium is buzzing. It's always a tough game. This is what you experience always as a Premier League side. Thank God we had Lucas Perry with 1 or 2 good saves, and we're also spot on in the final row to be there with blocks and rebounds and kept a clean sheet. I'm happy that we found a way also to go through into the next round, because sometimes such a scruffy win and in a difficult game is more important for the spirit and also the unity within the group than an easy win.
Well, he mentions Lucas Perry there. He made an incredible world-class save in the early moments of that game from Jay Stansfield that kept it goalless and would have given Birmingham that early momentum, but it stayed 0-0 at that point. Leeds took the lead, Birmingham equalised, and then Leeds win it on penalties. On Talksport 2 earlier, you heard the Premier League's bottom side, Wolves, win 1-0 away at League 2 Grimsby, and Rob Edwards, the Wolves manager, was pleased with the attitude and performance of his players considering the conditions.
Different type of game, a bit of a throwback, like you say, and one that really we could only win by winning and being professional today and doing it right. And I don't think it was never going to be a day for beautiful football. It was never going to be a day for trying to build and play from the back. I think they hoped we would, but no, we played with some realism. Really showed really good spirit and fight. Did the basics well, and came through.
Well, look, Grimsby 0, Wolves 1. Santi Bueno with his knee for the only goal of the game on a mud bath of a pitch in pouring driving rain right off the North Sea. I've been to many a game at Blundell Park, not good conditions at all, and Wolves got through the tie, as did Fulham, who came from behind to beat Stoke 2-1 at the Bet365. Boss Marco Silva expressed his delight with his side's performance.
Tempo was good from our team. We put them under pressure. We create from both sides. A lot of players inside. They changed the formation to be more with 5 at the back to control more our wide areas of the pitch as well. But even so, we were able to create enough chances and a good reaction from us after a bit tricky start. The way they scored a good goal from them, but the way they scored, but the reaction was very good.
There you go, Marco Silva. Fulham coming from behind. Kevin and Harrison Reid with the 2 goals second half for the Premier League side, so they go through. And also earlier on Talksport, we brought you Sunderland's 1-0 win at Championship Oxford. Black Hacks boss Regis Labrie explained why he was happy to get a bit of revenge on his opponents today.
Last season we lost 2-0 here at the end of the season, so we were aware, we were alert about how tough it is to play here. Direct play, long balls, second balls. It's not very easy to find a solution to manage this part of the game. But I think the lads were good, especially our centre backs and our midfielders. And after that, we had to be creative to score once. We'd have liked to score a second goal, but it wasn't the case.
Habib Diarra with that only goal for Sunderland to take them through. So the 4 Premier League sides, 1 away at EFL sides. Earlier today, you heard it all on Talksport. And here at the Emirates, it's been very comfortable for Arsenal. They lead League One Wigan 4-0. What will the second half bring? All those comeback goals for Wigan are going to be in front of their fans in the second half, which is coming next on Talksport.
The hottest ticket in cricket is here. Stream Sky Sports on now and catch every match of your team in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup.
Oh, he's got him! He has done the job!
Tomorrow, watch England take on tournament newcomers Italy in their final group game.
Are you not entertained?
Head to nowtv.com to get Sky Sports with a flexible Now membership and fire up your side.
Here we go, folks.
18 plus UK only. Broadband 2.5 megabits per second required.
For years, petrol set the benchmark. Hybrids cost more. Efficiency paid extra. Today, BYD reset the benchmark. Electric intelligence costs less than petrol. Advanced technology, real efficiency, no compromises. The BYD Sea Lion 5 DMI Super Hybrid SUV from just $29,995. Find out more and book your test drive at byd.com/UK.
Tesco Finest Alderwood Smoked Bacon, the foundation for the ultimate bacon butty. It's why only the finest bacon is traditionally hand-cured with Cornish sea salt, delicately smoked over alderwood and matured for at least 19 days. Layer it between slices of crusty bread and savour its richer flavour. All you have to think about is brown sauce or red. Make your everyday taste better with Tesco Finest. Majority of larger stores.
Tesco Insurance are driving down the cost of motoring with 10% off car insurance. Take out a car insurance policy before the 15th of May 2026 and you'll get 10% off with club card prices. We offer a range of cover options so you can choose the one that's right for you. Save 10% when you buy or renew a car policy with Tesco Insurance. Search Tesco Car Insurance and get a quote direct today. Club card required. Excludes add-ons. T's and C's apply.
Hyundai, by the way.
Discover the Hyundai Tucson self-charging hybrid. Ends 31st of March, 25% deposit, finance subject to status. Hyundai UK is a credit broker, not a lender. Terms apply.
Hello, I'm the new Deal or No Deal scratch card from the National Lottery. The banker called. He doesn't think you have what it takes to beat him. But forget that guy. Play me today and you could be one of millions of instant winners and show that mean old money grabber who the real big deal is.
Pick up the new Deal or No Deal scratch card in store today. Search Dream Big Play Small. Rules apply. 18+.
Some brands sponsor athletes for the glory, but not Quaker. We're real food. So we sponsor Team GB for the real stuff, the ugly stuff. The 5 a.m. alarms, the blisters, bruises, goggle marks, and mountains of sweaty laundry. Because we know that getting to greatness takes a delicious helping of ugliness. And my word, our porridge is ugly. Look at the state of it. Quaker. Deliciously real, deliciously ugly. Sponsor of Team GB.
He buys a BG socket, adds his details online, and there it is! That's an instant win, and he could be going to Miami. Spend £20 or more on BG electrical products and upload your proof of purchase before the end of April. There are 300 instant prizes to be won, plus entry into a prize draw to win 2 tickets to this summer's football in Miami, including travel and accommodation. Enter now at scorebwithbg.co.uk. 18 plus, UK only. Conditions apply.
FA Cup Game Day on Talksport.
I'm Adrian Durham here at the Emirates. Arsenal 4-0 up against League One Wigan in the FA Cup fourth round. It's time to look at the half-time highlights with McDonald's.
Half-time highlights on Talksport with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Well, here's an opportunity for Madueke, and he makes no mistake, right down the centre. Very cool, he slipped it under Tickle, and maybe that's a taste of things to come. Eze forward now towards Martinelli, breaks into the penalty area on the left-hand side, and he finishes superbly into the penalty area, finding Saka. He pulls it back, and it's almost an own goal. In the end, it was hooked in. 3-0 to Arsenal with 23 minutes play. Here's Jesus, a long ball forward. He's onside, and he dinks in number 4. 4-0 to Arsenal in the 27th minute.
Well, the travelling fans are absolutely crestfallen here. At the moment, Arsenal can break that line at will.
So Arsenal in control. Well, they're more than that, really. That was thanks to McDonald's.
Half-time highlights on Talksport with McDonald's. The Big Arch is here to stay at McDonald's with its very own delicious sauce. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Well, Arsenal back out, Wigan are back out as well. Arsenal getting themselves into a huddle while they wait for the officials and the match ball so they can get the second half underway. Our women's football show is back tomorrow night, 10 p.m, Talksport 2. Or you can listen wherever you get your podcasts from as Leanne Sanderson reflects on a rollercoaster few weeks for Chelsea, who won today 2-0 against Liverpool, as expected. The Brentford women's manager Carly Williams joins the show to discuss how the women's team are hoping to emulate the men's team's success this season. WSL results of earlier: Aston Villa 3, Spurs 7, Chelsea 2-0 winners, Everton 1-0 winners, and Man United beat London City 2. And Arsenal's game at Brighton was postponed. That's tomorrow at 10 p.m. on Talksport 2. After our commentary on Talksport 2 of Coventry Middlesbrough, top 2 in the Championship, and tomorrow night on Talksport it's FA Cup action again. Macclesfield against Brentford. What a tie. Natalie Sawyer, your host from Moss Rose, from 7 p.m. The second half about to get underway here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal surely heading through. It'll be the mother of all comebacks if Wigan make it through to the fifth round. It's Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. Here's Stuart Pearce and Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Adrian. And a change being made by Arsenal at half-time. Bukayo Saka, who of course wasn't supposed to start the game but came in for Calafiori very late. He has now gone off, and Victor Gyökeres has come on. And Stuart Pearce, I would imagine, he'll be chomping at the bit to maybe improve his goal stats here this evening.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible substitution. You're easing Saka in, even though you didn't think he was going to start the game. He's had his 45 minutes, and Gyökeres will come on, and all of a sudden he'll think to himself, like any good striker should, there's goals available.
No other changes made at half-time, so the Arsenal team is Kepa in goal, White, Mosquera and Saliba, with Lewis Skelly playing in midfield. Norgard, Madueke, Eze, Martinelli, Jesus, and now Gyökeres as Wigan try and come forward here. They're attacking the goal away to our right, which has thousands of Wigan fans behind that goal, and very few of them, it seems, maybe one or two, have decided to head home early. They've had enough in the driving rain here with their team 4-0 down, but the vast bulk of them, several thousand, have decided to stay, and why not? Tickle in goal for them, Aimson, Kerr and Fox. Hunt and Murray, the wide players, although Hunt, of course, has been taken off, so Smith has come on for him. He's gone into midfield. Weir and Moxon are also there with Rodriguez and Wright in support of Taylor, as Arsenal try and build down their left-hand side. And one thing I was going to ask you, Stuart, at the start of the second half is, what's your view on absolutely pummelling a team? Arsenal could ease off here, win 4-0, 5-0, see what happens, or they could really go for it and they could break one or two records. Do you think a team should keep going, or just basically think that's enough?
It's been drummed into me I remember Brian Clough saying to me, I think we were beating Aston Villa at home one day 5 or 6-0, and I ended up just staying back and just feeding the ball from a defensive area and seeing my way through the last probably 15 minutes of the game. And I come in afterwards, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, well, the game was won. He said, "That's not the point. If you can score 4, you go and try and score 5. You score 5, you try and score 6, you know." And that should be the Arsenal mentality within this game. I think there'll be a natural regression in their play a little bit. They'll be happy to keep the ball. The idea is to win the game and get through. They've done that probably with their first half performance, but I still think you've got a duty of football. I think you're belittling the opposition by just keeping it at the back and saying we're not going to score another one.
Well, Arsenal's record score is 11-1. That came in the FA Cup at Highbury against Darwin, who were a non-league side back in the 1930s. Their biggest win here in the FA Cup was 5-0 against non-league Lincoln City back in 2017. And of course, they could be in the Championship next season. Here is Norgard for Arsenal. 3 minutes into the second half here on Talksport. Arsenal leading by 4-0. All the goals in the opening 27 minutes. Jesus scored the fourth of those, and he's on the ball here. Back towards Norgard again. And now Saliba, among the players who are not involved at all for Arsenal today. David Raya, Jurrien Timber, Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz. I'm sure We'll see all of those at Molineux live on Talksport on Wednesday night when Wolves travel to Arsenal. And there's a big game coming up for Wigan as well. They meet Luton at home on Wednesday. And they'll be hoping that whatever happens here in the second half, they can take something into that game, because they need points in the relegation zone in League One. Only 1 point in 7 games and 1 win in 12. Lewis Skelly with a long ball forward here, but Jensen Weir with a back pass which goes beyond the far post, beyond Sam Tickle, the goalkeeper, and just wide. It's a corner kick.
Yeah, I think that back pass was so firm, it's got to go down as the first shot of the half. It's very fortunate it wasn't creeping in the far post.
Jensen Weir, son of the former Everton and Rangers defender David. And it will be Arsenal's first corner in the second half, and Madueke will take it. He opened the scoring, quickly followed by Martinelli. An own goal from Jack Hunt, who has since gone off injured, and Gabriel Jesus. And the last word coming up on Talksport at the end of this game. I don't think we'll be having extra time. Here is Madueke, back to Martinelli, who clips in the cross, cleared as far as Nordgaard, nodded down into the 6-yard area, and Jesus with a shot on the turn, and it was blocked, but the flag's up for offside.
Yeah, he just crept into an offside position. The Wigan backline just squeezed up then. Good timing on that occasion by the Wigan backline. All come up in sync, and that's certainly something they've got to do a bit more regularly in this second half.
And it will be a goal kick or a free kick for Wigan. 5 minutes into the second half. 03717 223344 to have your say on the final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew from 6:30. Wins today in the FA Cup for Leeds, Wolves, Fulham and Sunderland. And in Scotland, a comeback victory for Celtic, and still 2-2 between Rangers and Hearts at Ibrox in the early stages of the second half there as well. And maybe, what is your view on FA Cup ties without VAR after what we saw in the game at Villa Park last night?
Well, it gives us an insight on what the game would be like without VAR. I mean, to be fair, I think officials at the moment have got very comfortable utilising VAR, so they've almost switched off a little bit in the hope they've got a backup. Now, there was a couple of really poor decisions. Dinia's tackle, I think, should have been red. I think there should have been a penalty claim as well, which was given outside the box for some unknown reason. But the bottom line is, I still think, personally, I think it would be a better game without VAR. Yes, a few decisions will slip through the net, Nige.
Well, here's an opportunity now for Arsenal as White breaks into the penalty area, right-hand side. And it's cleared away, and then Nordgaard will quickly play it back into the box again. But Arsenal hunting a fifth goal here. 7 minutes into the second half on Talksport. And maybe it's a case of the people operating VAR being better at their jobs.
Yeah. That was, as I say, I'd never been a big fan of VAR from the offset. You know, I've not one of these ones that jumps on the bandwagon since it's been in and had a clamour for it. I would accept a referee's decision.
Now Jesus looking for Gyökeres inside the area, but Fox will clear. And of course VAR will be back in the FA Cup from round 5. And Saliba challenges there, and an opportunity for Mosquera to bring the ball out from the back. Here is Lewis Skelly. Martinelli in space. So much space down the left-hand side. And now Lewis Skelly will try and pick him out. And he has done, but the flag's up for offside. And Martinelli there had so long to think about that run, and in the end was flagged offside.
Yeah, Weir's position was slightly better there because he was tucked in that little bit more. I think in the first half we saw sort of players playing in full-back position just being a little bit too wide and spread, and as we saw with Madueke, he comes inside off his flank and then darts in. When you take an early position up tucked in, it's slightly better.
And you're listening to the FA Cup on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m. 18 plus, fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, prices may vary. A rare touch for Kepa at the start of the second half. And he plays it out to Saliba, now Norgard, and a good ball from him. Eze on the move in the centre circle. Just forced back by the challenge from Wright. But Eze is able to regather, of course, the FA Cup winner. Scored the goal in the final for Crystal Palace last season. And I have to say, it was strange. Well, here's an opportunity for Gyökeres. Fires it low towards the near post, and he's hit the post. Once again, the Wigan defence split by one ball, and Gyökeres on the move at the near post. Tickle was beaten, but it came back off the upright.
Yeah, great movement there once again, and a great slide pass just into the box, inside right position, and he's unloaded it first time. It's only the goalpost once again that saved Wigan.
And Wigan are defensively deeper in the second half. They played a high line in the opening half hour or so, and time again Arsenal just cut them to ribbons, scoring their 4 goals. Now Smith, who's at the base of that midfield, finding Moxon, who's slightly further forward and maybe better suited to that sort of role. And he's got time to try and move now. 10 minutes into the second half. And there's no real pace in the game, which is perhaps understandable with Arsenal leading by 4-0 and Wigan purely in the business of damage limitation here. Moxon, square towards Weir. And here is Rodriguez, who spins away from the challenge of Lewis Skelly. Good injection of pace from him, but the low cross in, seeking out Taylor, is cleared away by Saliba. And now Mosquera will bring it forward for Arsenal. Wide to the far side, and Madueke among the players available on the bench for Arsenal. Leandro Trossard is still there, and also Hincapié, Rice, Zubamendi, and also Marley Salmon, the 16-year-old who had a brief cameo in the previous round at Portsmouth. Now it's high towards Martinelli in space down the left-hand side. He will try and take on Rodriguez. The cross to the far post is cleared as far as Eze on the stretch. And in the end, there's a crunching challenge by Wright on Lewis Skelly, and he catches him. Got nowhere near the ball, and it will be a free kick to Arsenal, which is left of centre, about 25 yards out.
Yeah, just having a look at the replay of the Gyökeres effort. It's just got, I think it was Weir that Ampson got back and just got a toe on it that diverted it. He's hit it across the goalkeeper. The diversion off of Ampson's toe just took it onto the near post. I've got to say, I've got to put that down as a wonderful block by the defender, Nigel.
Yeah, it was really good defending. I think without that it would have gone in, because I'm not sure Tickle had that near post area covered. But a free kick here for Arsenal. Eze is over it. Norgard is also expressing an interest, but then he wanders away. 12 minutes into the second half here on Talksport. Arsenal leading by 4-0, as they were at half-time. Still Rangers 2, Hearts 2 in Scotland. And Eze assessing a right-footed curling free kick here. Every Wigan player is back once again, with the exception of Taylor. And what will Arsenal try and cook up from the set piece here? Martinelli on the end of the wall, but Eze curls it, and I think it struck an Arsenal teammate. Indeed it did, because Jesus was almost flattened by that. As Arsenal try and come forward again on the far side. Here is Saliba. And now White finding Madueke. And a crossfield ball will find Lewis Skelly in plenty of space. High in towards Martinelli, but he's closed down, and Wigan will eventually clear the ball away. And here is Rodriguez on this near side. And the ball down the line deflected out of play by Eze. So let's check in once again on Rangers against Hearts with Talksport's David Tanner.
And it's Rangers 2, Hearts 2. We're into the 10th minute of the second half. What a battle this is between the teams at the top of the table. Rangers now third after Celtic's win at Kilmarnock earlier today, and there's 5 points between Rangers in the leader's Hearts, so it's a must-win for Rangers. Tied at 2-2 at the moment. Hearts have made a couple of changes. Jordi Altena and Landry Kabori have come on for Islam Chesnikov and Agu. Rangers 2, Hearts 2.
Thanks, David. Taylor here for Wigan, close to the halfway line. He's fouled by Lewis Skelly, and it will be a free kick. Glenn Whelan once again. The former Stoke and Aston Villa defender midfielder rather, is out on the edge of his technical area. Both he and Graham Barrow may have one final game in charge, and we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be a change for Arsenal very soon, and Marley Salmon, the 16-year-old we talked about, will be coming on along with Leandro Trossard as Mosquera nods it down, and Wigan will also be making a change as well. Dara Costello will be coming on as the back pass towards Kepa, closed down by Taylor, but the Arsenal goalkeeper is able to get the ball away. And Mosquera wide to this near side on a dark, damp early evening here at the Emirates Stadium. And Martinelli looking to take on Weir, who is backpedaling now. Eze on the burst into the penalty area, fires it into the side netting. But Eze with 2 assists already, almost adding a goal to his tally there.
Yeah, great driving run by Eze. I thought he was going to open his body up and shape it in the far corner. He dragged it round the corner, opened up the opportunity, and just couldn't pull it back enough across the goalkeeper's left hand.
Well, Marley Salmon got 14 minutes in the previous round. He'll get at least half an hour here. And there's a paternal arm on the shoulder from Mikel Arteta as Salmon comes on. And Saliba goes off. And Noni Madueke will get a great ovation as he departs. And Leandro Trossard will replace him. As we go back to Ibrox and David Tanner.
Rangers 3, Hearts 2. Rangers are in front in this game for the first time, and it's taken them 57 minutes, and it's the man who brought them back into the game earlier, Yusuf Chermiti, who scores his second goal of the game, across from the right from new signing Andreas Skov Olsen, and it was a brilliant header at the front post by Chermiti. Rangers 3, Hearts 2.
Well, it's fair to say that Yusuf Chermiti has not been a fan favourite at Ibrox so far, but a couple of crucial goals there today as Rangers come from behind for a second time and now lead for the first time. And if they win that game, things will be tightened up significantly at the top of the Scottish Premiership. 61 minutes played here. Arsenal leading by 4-0 as they were at half-time. Dara Costello is still awaiting his opportunity for Wigan. And now Norgard, Trossard pulling wide to this left-hand side. Martinelli's moved over to the right, and now Trossard plays it low in towards Eze, who spins away from the challenge, goes down on the edge of the penalty area, under pressure from Murray, but no free kick given by Tim Robinson. And now it's brought forward by Rodriguez again. He looks a tricky customer, and he steps away from Lewis Skelly, and then Lewis Skelly takes him down as he goes on the outside, and Wigan have a free kick.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, Rodriguez. I think he's caught the eye. He's been very, very direct with a good turn of pace.
Well, it was Smith who did have hold of the shirt there of Eberici Eze initially inside the area, and then he let go, and then Eze went down.
To be replaced by number 11, Dara Costello.
Dara Costello is now coming on for Wigan, and it's Joe Taylor who comes off. He's worked hard, the young Welshman on loan from Huddersfield, with very little service. Free kick here. Murray will take it. Kepa comes out to fist away for Arsenal. It's helped back into the area. First touch for Costello. Now Moxon jabs it wide to the far side, and the flag's up for offside as Fox's cross-come shot was gathered by Kepa anyway.
Yeah, good ball into the box there, and Kepa's come out, decided not to catch, punched it, but they kept it alive, just straight offside. Taylor's just walking past us now. He's worked tirelessly, but for very, very little reward in the game. It's been tough for him up front on his own.
And in this scenario, there are bigger games to come for Wigan towards the foot of League One, starting with Luton at home on Wednesday. They were 11th in the table before this run of only one win in 12 games. Now they are 22nd. It is very, very tight. A couple of wins would probably lift them clear. Here is Eze, low into the area for Jesus, quickly further on to Gyökeres. He goes down again, appeals for a penalty, but nothing given. And White has got time to play the ball inside the fullback for Jesus. The low cross blocked at the near post by Tickle and cleared away by Wright, and it will be a throw-in for Arsenal.
Yeah, whilst I'll quantify this statement that Arsenal have lost some intensity, Wigan are defending that much deeper. They've got bodies in the critical area, and they're getting blocks on, so they're looking much more solid this second half, Wigan.
I think the nature of the crowd here today will be demanding more goals. I think because ticket prices are a bit cheaper compared to the Premier League, a number of Arsenal fans who possibly don't come on a regular basis, they are here today. There's very much a family feel about the Emirates Stadium, and the fans of all ages certainly enjoyed what they saw in the first half. Now Lewis Skelly back towards Salmon, who wears 89. He'll be hoping that squad number goes down a bit the longer he goes into his Arsenal career. Now Murray coming forward for Wigan down their left. He's got right ahead of him, but the challenge comes in, and the ball is then squirts into the penalty area. Kepa was challenged at the near post by Costello. He has gone down, and as a result, Tim Robinson has stopped play.
Yeah, Salmon just left it for his goalkeeper, and Costello's made a lot of ground up to try and get there. Yeah, just a clash afterwards. No intent there.
Yeah, Kepa got to the ball first. Here is Lewis Skelly. 65 minutes play. The final word coming up at 6:30 on Talksport with Majestic and Alan Pardew. 03717 223344. Leeds winning on penalties following a very tight 1-1 draw at Birmingham in the first game of the day. Wolves overcoming Grimsby, and a very muddy pitch at Blundell Park to win 1-0. Fulham coming from behind to win at Stoke 2-1, and Sunderland also overcoming the conditions at Oxford by a 1-0. Celtic have won 3-2. Rangers are leading 3-2 against the leaders' Hearts in the Scottish Premiership, as Arsenal come forward again here. Martinelli looking to tease, and the low cross into the area from Norgard. It's cleared straight back to him. White, who has spent so much of this game on the right corner of the Wigan penalty area, looking to attack. Now Jesus, and Arsenal dropping back towards the halfway line. When you see 4 goals in the opening 27 minutes, you think there is going to be an avalanche of goals here, but Wigan do deserve some credit for tightening up in the second half. But here is Trossard turning on the outside, fires in the left-footed cross, which is scrambled away inside the 6-yard area by Jason Kerr, and it will be a corner.
Yeah, because they're defending that much deeper, all of a sudden the ball comes in the box, and you've got that many more defenders that can actually get a block, and in fact it was a really good clearance actually in a tight area. You can always slice them in your own net.
Corner kick, which Eberechi Eze will take. Trossard coming short, and again there is a phalanx of Arsenal players looking to make their run from beyond the far post. That's where the ball goes, but Tickle gathers well, and he quickly clears downfield. Costello is the only player forward, but he controls well. Lewis Skelly, the player who was with him, and then Lewis Skelly hacks him down, and it will be the game's first yellow card for Miles Lewis Skelly, and he can't really have too many complaints.
No, he can't, and to be fair, he just looks short of match sharpness. You know, it's a really poor challenge that was. He just got outdone. He's gone for the ball and it just wasn't there the next second. And he's been taken on a couple of times on the side near us as well, Nigel. And he's been unexpectedly beaten.
And he's been shuffled around this team today. Of course, he came into the day anticipating a position in midfield, but he's been swapped around due to the late change just before kick-off time, and has maybe not been able to impact the game the way he wanted to, as the free kick is played in, and as bodies go tumbling inside the penalty area, it was Salmon who was fouled there, and it will be a free kick. Arsenal take it quickly. Gyökeres manages to squeeze it through towards Martinelli. He's gone beyond Smith, checks back inside the penalty area, crosses in towards Gyökeres, who heads it down, but behind Eze, and Wigan will try and clear here. It hits the back of Weir inside the area, and it's cleared away on this near side. And there is a Wigan player, Rodriguez, who is down inside the box. He was involved there as Gyökeres tried to keep that ball alive.
Yeah, as I say, Gyökeres has just trod on Rodriguez's foot. That'll be painful. Should be okay though.
But we've not had a goal now for nearly 45 minutes of playing time. Arsenal scoring 4 times in the opening 27 minutes. We now have 20 minutes to play, and it's still 4-0. But as we were saying, if Wigan had started like this, it could have been a very interesting game. As it is, they ditch the high line at 4-0 down.
Yeah, and as I say, they look a much tighter team to attempt to break down now. As I say, playing that little bit deeper, a little bit more together, and more bodies in the critical area.
But this will be 15 successive wins for Arsenal against lower division ties or lower division clubs in the FA Cup, and that is since that infamous day for them at Wrexham back in 1992. Lewis Skelly with an interesting back pass for Kepa, but he's able to control it under pressure from Costello, and Salmon works it wide to the far side. And now Salmon plays it long downfield, seeking out Gyökeres. Well, I think Gyökeres fouled Aimson, but no free kick given because Wigan have the ball anyway. Kurt finding Aimson, and it's infield to Moxon, but he was under pressure from Jesus. And Jesus' ball forward is cut out by Smith, and Wigan will try and break forward again now. Costello was in space down the middle, but it's wide to the far side, and Murray, but it's overhit for him, and it goes behind for a goal kick. But it's been, I wouldn't say a more even game, but it's been, in the second half, the sort of cup tie it would have needed to be for Wigan to have any sort of chance here today.
Yeah, indeed. As I say, they've defended that little bit deeper, been a little bit more aggressive in their work, engaging the Arsenal players. Arsenal have played their part in that. They've dropped off probably 5% in intensity, which you quite understand. But the bottom line is, Wigan will come away. They need, with the league campaign as well, they need to come away from this game with a feel-good factor in the second half for Glenn Whelan to say to his players, look, you know, if we can keep a clean sheet this second half, there's our win-win.
Well, Glenn Whelan and Graham Barrow deep in conversation in the Wigan technical area at the moment. And Wigan will hope to appoint a new manager in the coming week, and he'll inherit a team which, as we were saying before kick-off, is low on confidence, but possibly has the quality to get themselves out of trouble. But they'll pick up their first yellow card of the day here. It was Owen Moxon with the challenge on Christian Norgard, and it will be an Arsenal free kick just outside their penalty area. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on Talksport, 7:30 kick-off, Macclesfield against Brentford, the final tie in the fourth round. Natalie Sawyer, Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend will bring you the commentary from Moss Rose. And there is a huge game on the home of the EFL, Talksport 2, in the Championship. The top two, Coventry and Middlesbrough. Coventry in a poor run at the moment under Frank Lampard. Middlesbrough, 6 wins in a row. Ollie Klink, Joe Shannon and Adrian Clark will bring you that game Adrian will have kick-off on Tuesday alongside Chris Iwelumo, Kevin Hatchard and Scott Minto, with all the goals as they go in from the Champions League and the EFL. Benfica, Real Madrid is the commentary on Talksport 2 at 8 o'clock as Trossard comes forward here, dinks in the cross, looking for Jesus, who leapt well at the near post, but Sam Tickle just leapt a bit higher and claimed well.
Yeah, great ball there from Mosquera, feeding Trossard on this left wing. What time's the draw tomorrow, Nige?
Just after 6:30.
Perfect.
So, some big teams left, and one or two hoping for a big tie. Your old teammate Nigel Clough, I'm sure, will be keen for a big day for Mansfield again.
Yep, he certainly will. I dropped him a text after the game, congratulated him on the result, and he's had some good results. I mean, we were at Burton when they've had a great cup run. I think they played United, didn't they, in the cup, and one or two other teams when he was Burton manager, so they'll be excited in Mansfield at the moment for the draw.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Macclesfield do, but Mansfield are the lowest ranked team, guaranteed a place in the draw as it stands. And there are one or two Premier League teams who've got through who, should be giving the FA Cup a really good go this season. You can look at Sunderland, you can look at Fulham, and you think, well, they're not going down. They may not trouble the business end of the season at the top. So the FA Cup is a real opportunity for them. Free kick here for Wigan, which is clipped into the penalty area and headed away by Norgard. And now Martinelli's got Eze in support, and Eze has got there before Rodriguez. He can break into the penalty area, but the cross was blocked by Murray. There are appeals for handball, certainly from Gyökeres, but Tim Robinson waves away the appeals, and of course no VAR, so the game continues.
Yeah, a bit too close contact for me, even if it did strike the hand. I wonder if you said to both Mansfield and Macclesfield, you've got each other in the next round, they would accept that, or they would want somebody that's further up the food chain at home.
It's an interesting one. Again, you look at Mansfield in the League One table. They're in a situation where the FA Cup is absolutely huge for them now, so maybe they want a big tie at home, or maybe they're thinking there could be an even deeper run. Wigan are about to make a triple change. While they do that, we'll head back to Ibrox and David Tanner.
And it's still Rangers 3, Hearts 2. Since Rangers pushed ahead for the first time in the game through Yusuf Chermiti, Ratnadarius had a header cleared by Stuart Finlay, and Mikey Moore shot over when he really should have scored a fourth for Rangers. As it stands, Hearts are now 2 points clear of Rangers. We're a point clear of Celtic. We have a game in hand. Rangers 3, Hearts 2.
Thanks, David. And the Wigan changes. Stephen Sessegnon is coming on along with Joe Hungbo and Harrison Batoni, the 18-year-old who scored the winner at Preston in the previous round. Jason Kerr and Rafael Borges Rodriguez are two of the players coming off, along with Owen Moxon. So Batoni, who does have 4 goals this season, scored 2 on his debut in a win at AFC Wimbledon, he will come on and lead the attack. Hungbo will play on the right-hand side. Former Palace and Watford player, also had a spell in Germany with Nuremberg. And Stephen Sessegnon, like his brother Ryan, came through at Fulham, and he's had sporadic opportunities in the first team this season. And Martin Zubimendi is about to come on for Arsenal. Many people suggesting he's been the most effective player, or the most important player in the Arsenal team so far this season, and he will get 13 minutes or so plus added time at the end of this game, because Arsenal do have an injury over on the far side.
Well, I think any fans of Declan Rice would probably debate that fact, but he certainly has done well.
There's going to be change, and it will be Zubimendi who is coming on. And it's been a job well done by Arsenal. It's Ben White who will come off, so there'll be a shuffling around at the back. Salmon will probably drop in as the right back, and Zubimendi will take a position just in front of the back four. But going back to that point you made before, if you're a lower ranked club, I mean, Mansfield obviously would look for a big tie. If you're a Premier League team, you probably don't want to be going to Wrexham, do you?
No, you wouldn't. That'll be a tough tie in itself with the Wrexham story. But it's intriguing. I do love a draw, Nigel, I've got to say.
And you'll be able to hear that live on Talksport tomorrow night before the coverage of Macclesfield against Brentford. We've also got Newcastle in the Champions League on Wednesday, away in Baku against Karabakh. Commentary with Jim and Darren Ambrose. And then we've got Wolves against Arsenal here on Talksport. The Newcastle game on Talksport 2 at 5:45. And then on Thursday, a double-header from the Europa League, 5:45, Fenerbahce against Nottingham Forest with Alex Crook and the former Forest defender Luke Chambers. And Ian Danta and Chris Awelimo will bring you Celtic against Stuttgart. All those in the knockout playoffs. Of course, teams like Arsenal already through to the round of 16 in the Champions League, so their European season won't resume until March. 10 minutes to play here. Arsenal 4, Wigan 0. And we've known for some time that Arsenal will be in the fifth round of the FA Cup for the first time in 6 years. And here is Eze. Plenty of Wigan players ahead of him. Trossard coming in field from the left-hand side, but it's cleared away by Aimson up towards the halfway line. Costello will try and get there ahead of Mosquera, but that's easier said than done. And now Zubamendi once again.
Yeah, Zubamendi just playing in that deep-lying midfield role. Norgard's dropped in as right centre-half, and Salmon has just gone to right-back now with White going off.
And here is Mosquera. Lewis Skelly. And Wigan defending with real tenacity now and defending their penalty area, which is something they simply weren't doing well enough in the first half. Here is Trossard. He's closed down though by Weir. And now Eze. Rangers still leading Hearts 3-2 at Ibrox. Big moments to come there as Martinelli plays it wide towards Zubamendi. And Martinelli again, he's got support from Norgard and they work it well into the penalty area. But again, Wigan stand firm and it's cleared away by Fox looking for Costello. Norgard just had hold of his shirt briefly, but now Costello will try and continue down the right-hand side and eventually Norgard takes him down. It will be a free kick for Wigan, wide on the left, and a yellow card for Christian Norgard.
I'll tell you what, you've got to say, you walk in at half-time 4-0 down and the scoreline could have been anything, and we're thinking, where could this scoreline go? Credit to Wigan, changed the way they're playing tactically. They're defending deeper, they've got bodies around the ball. In the first half, it was one-on-one isolation, certainly in the wide areas, not tracking runners, defending high. All of a sudden, you defend your own penalty box, get numbers around the critical area, and all of a sudden, they managed to keep a clean sheet so far, Nigel.
And they are 8 minutes away from drawing the second half 0-0, or maybe doing something better here. Free kick for Wigan. Wide on the left-hand side. And it's swept high to the far post. Costello rising for it. Cleared as far as Hungbo, but Trossard gets there first. Hooked back in field by Wright. And now brought clear by Gyökeres, and he's taken out by Aimson on the halfway line. That'll be a yellow card as well. All the Arsenal fans around us stand up and complain about that, and it's a rare piece of passion in the second half.
Yeah, I'm looking at Mikel Arteta. His head's not moved away from Aimson at the moment, who's walked away. He's concerned that one of his players getting injured, but he's got to bear in mind that Lewis Skelly's done a similar sort of challenge slightly earlier.
As did Norgard on the far side on Costello.
That. So come on now.
Free kick, which Lewis Skelly will take with 7 minutes to play here. The final word coming up on Talksport at 6:30 with Majestic and Alan Pardew. 03717 2233 44. to look back on the days and the weekend's events in the FA Cup, and a big week for a number of clubs coming up in Europe as well, and the Premier League. Lewis Skelly finding Trossard on the left. He shuffles back in field, and Mosquera has got support from Norgard. And again, Wigan much more organised, and that's despite a host of changes in the second half. Trossard finding Eze.
From a coaching perspective here, if you took a snapshot of this corner flag to our left-hand side, Arsenal got the ball on the edge of the box out wide.
Here is Zubimendi looking to break into the penalty area, drifting in the cross, and the header for Martinelli, and that's a fine save from Tickle.
Yeah, top save there. They managed to breach the back line. What they've got to do, I'm suggesting, if the ball's in wide areas and Arsenal have got two players, you've got to have a minimum of two, maybe three. If they got three, you've got to have 3 or 4. You can never be outnumbered or just 1-for-1, and that was their problem in the first half.
And you're listening to the FA Cup on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may vary. And that's the point you make. You've got to create overloads all over the field, whether you're defending deep or trying to get forward. And
exactly that. People, when people mention overloads, Nigel, they think it's an attacking statement. It's not an attacking statement at all. It's both, basically.
Now Mosquera. Infield again towards Norgard. And there is going to be a change here in goal for Arsenal. Tommy Setford, the 19-year-old, signed from Ajax, will be coming on. Here is Jesus, but Tickle, the other goalkeeper, or one of the other goalkeepers, will gather. And Tommy Setford, one of 2 goalkeeping brothers, and his brother Charlie is currently on loan at MK Dons in League 2 from Ajax. But Tommy has made the move to Arsenal, and he will get his opportunity here. No David Raya involved today. As Wigan win a throw-in on this near side, and Arsenal have the opportunity to make a change. Presumably Kepa will come off. Of course, he's not always in the past.
Fair point. I was at Wembley that day. Quite incredible.
Yeah, Kepa makes way. And it's a big moment for Tommy Setford. Gets his opportunity, high fives Kepa. There's an embrace from the goalkeeper as well. And the 19-year-old will come on for the remaining 3.5 minutes plus added time. And it's thrown long downfield, looking for Costello, who was just barged in the back there by Mosquera. And it will be a free kick for Wigan, right in front of Glenn Whelan. And it will be taken by Harrison Batoni. And really that win at Preston, the high point of the season for Wigan. Their manager at the time, Ryan Lowe, going back to his former club, and the 18-year-old's goal won it 1-0. And it's Batoni's free kick, and Setford makes a claim, and he'll remember that if nothing else. And he quickly bowls it out to find Zubimendi, and he gets a great round of applause from the Arsenal fans who are still in the building, although many now are choosing to make the early departure and head out into the drizzle which has returned here at the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, it's good to see a couple of youngsters coming on the pitch. Setford and Salmon, like an accountancy firm, really, aren't they, you know?
I think if you want to sell your house, you get them in for the surveying. And now Salmon coming forward again. And Arsenal were the first team, really, along with Manchester United, to really use the League Cup as an opportunity to blood young players. And that's something which Arsenal have continued. And of course, they've had plenty of Europa League football in recent years to develop a number of potential young stars. And now Lewis Skelly, and it's flicked through towards Jesus, but Wigan again will manage to bring the ball clear, but Tony was just caught as he tried to play it forward, but Arsenal have it back, and we are heading towards the 90th minute here. Still 4-0. Eze with a shot on the turn, and Tickle with another really good save.
Yeah, he's pulled off a couple of good saves this second half, Tickle, I've got to say, down to his right hand side. That time snapshot by Eze.
03717 22 3344 to call Majestic and Alan Pardew on the final word on Talksport at the end of this game. And when Arsenal went 4-0 up in 27 minutes, we really wondered just how many they would score, but Wigan deserve a huge amount of credit for shutting the door so far in the second half. Let's go back to Ibrox. It's a good deal tighter there. Here's David Tanner.
And it's still Rangers 3, Hearts 2. Rangers have a corner kick at the moment. It's James Tavernier, the captain, who curls it in, and it's punched away by Alexander Swallow in goal. It's been end-to-end stuff, no real opportunities. Rangers still with the advantage in this top-of-the-table clash. Rangers 3, Hearts 2, 5 minutes to go.
And we're heading towards added time here. Thanks, David. Trossard coming forward for Arsenal, leading by 4-0. Challenge from Murray, and there will be a minimum of 2 minutes added time as Wigan clear and Costello comes forward here. Can they have the final word?
Look at the recovery of the Arsenal players there. Literally there was a one-on-one break going on. Next thing, 5 Arsenal players turn up in this scene. Super play, super defending.
Murray, and now Weir. And here is Smith for Wigan, and their fans finishing with plenty of volume. I think they'll be pleased with what they've seen in the second half, and they'll hope it's something to build on.
I'll tell you what, none of them have left early, have they? That is for sure, Nigel.
Yeah, very, very few empty red seats. Of course, they got a close-up view of the 4 Arsenal goals away to our left in the first half, and they must have been fearing the worst. As Trossard chases a long ball forward here down the left, and he's done well to keep the ball in play. But Weir is sticking with him very tightly. It's back with Lewis Skelly, and now Zubamendi. That's a good ball. Eze went for the curler right-footed, but it was blocked by Weir. And Weir now clears long downfield. 30 seconds of added time to play. Mosquera maybe just saw the ball roll down the top part of his arm as he was challenged by Costello, but no free kick. And the Emirates Stadium is rapidly emptying here. Trossard curls it high to the far post, headed away initially. Zubamendi on the volley, and he hit that left-footed with the outside of the boot, and it whizzed over the angle.
I'll tell you what, they've done a brilliant job in this second half, Wigan. I've got to say, the psychological approach of coming in 4-0 down to keep a clean sheet in the second half and defend gallantly.
4-0 down at half-time, but it got no worse for Wigan Athletic. They really knuckled down defensively in the second half and managed to keep the second period scoreless. Arsenal scoring 4 goals in 16 minutes before the half hour. It looked like they could really rack up a cricket score then, but in the end they settled for 4 and a place in the 5th round for the first time in 6 years. Full time, Arsenal 4, Wigan Athletic 0.
Yeah, amazing really. The former Arsenal youngster Matt Smith comes on when it's 4-0 and it stays 4-0. So Wigan for the last hour or so of the game can take a lot of positives from that. And Stuart Pearce makes me wonder why they didn't start like that. I think they just got everything wrong from the start. It would be easy to assume that, deduce that, but maybe Arsenal a little bit of foot off the gas as well, having got those 4 goals. So it's a difficult one to read, really. I think we're going to have to take the positives, don't they?
Oh, they certainly do. The second half, they're a totally different team, defending a little bit deeper, getting bodies in the box, doubling and trebling up in wide areas, all the things you've got to do to get a result and make it difficult, and being a little bit more aggressive as well in their demeanour. Arsenal had done their work in the first half, against a very loose Wigan defence. But second half, Wigan, and credit to them, changed things round. They looked so much better in that second half and made it very difficult for Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal saw the high line, rubbed their hands together and had it won inside half an hour. They were ruthless with their finishing, weren't they? 4-0 inside half an hour.
Yeah, they had a lot of time to get their head up and finish, I've got to say. But they certainly were. They were ruthless with their movements. They basically said, you give us a lot of room and we'll put the ball in the back of your net. And that's what they've done on 4 occasions.
Now, we've got another goal at Ibrox. This could be crucial. Which way? David Tanner.
And Rangers are very much in this title race because it's Rangers 4, Hearts 2 on 90 minutes. And it's, would you believe it, Yusuf Chermiti, pilloried by the fans on Wednesday night for his performance at Motherwell, who's just completed his hat-trick. And it was a break by Jady Gassama, who won the ball just outside his own penalty box. He ran all the way to about 25 yards out from the left. He fed in Chermiti, who placed the ball between the goalkeeper and the far post. What a goal for Rangers, what a performance, and it means so much in this intriguing Scottish Premiership title race. Rangers 4, league leaders Hearts 2.
Yeah, a bit of advice for Hearts. Don't leave the guy who's already scored 2 unmarked in the box when you're trying to get back on level terms. Rangers will go 2 points behind Hearts. Rangers will be a point ahead of Celtic, and that tightens it right up at the top. 4 minutes added on, they're in that. We'll be back there for full time very shortly. I'm fascinated, Stuart Pearce, by what you've said about Arsenal's mentality, and even at the end there where there's a one-on-one and they're all chasing back. It's almost like those players know that if they don't get this right... So we've mentioned before on air about Eberechi Eze not doing his job properly defensively at Aston Villa, finds himself out of the side, in Arteta jail, the Arsenal fans call it. The players know that if they don't do everything he wants them to do, they're not disciplined, they ain't going to be in the side.
Yeah, it's not just what he wants them to do, it's the right thing at the right time, all the time. That's what you've got to do as a player in any football team. Whether it's the first minute or the 90th minute, when that ball goes beyond you, you've got to break your neck to get back. I see it so often with teams that are in trouble down the bottom of the league. Their goals being attacked, you look at the halfway line and there's 3 or 4 players ambling back. You can see it all the time. If you don't have that culture at your club, you're going to be very difficult to concede against. And Arsenal have got that. At the moment, everyone's got their tail up from 1 to 25 in their squad.
So you don't believe in this, they're showing signs, they're bottling it, they're dropping points. All it took was Brentford getting aggressive at set pieces and working hard to take points off Arsenal. You're not buying into that?
Exactly that. I don't think Arsenal play bad. I have not seen Arsenal play badly any time this season. I've seen other teams play really well against them to get a point or beat them. I think United done really well here to beat them. I think Brentford done really well to take a point off them. I wouldn't say that's detrimental to Arsenal. I just think sometimes you've got to tip your hat to the opposition and say, well done today, you deserve to take a point off us.
And they got to tip you out to Wigan for the last hour of the game, because they showed some togetherness, they changed things, and they actually showed that they're not actually that bad a side, possibly should get out of relegation trouble. What's really interesting is we mentioned on air yesterday, Stuart, on game day, that as much as Arsenal are up for a quadruple, Man City are as well. But the reason why nobody's really talking about Man City going for a quadruple or potentially getting a quadruple is because they haven't consistently this season shown the same levels of quality and application that Arsenal have. And it's exactly what you're talking about, that same mentality.
Exactly. I've seen Arsenal be a team for all seasons in everything that they've done. I've not seen that from Manchester City. I've seen some highs, but I've also, their lows are much lower than Arsenal's. There's a level of consistency. Arsenal keep delivering 7, 8 out of 10 all the time. Every now and then they might hit a 9. Man City can hit the 9 on occasion, but I've seen 4s and 5s from defensively, and that's what sows that seed of doubt that I don't think they can be consistent as Arsenal.
Quick question for you, and I mean, I think you'll be aware of what I think of this. I don't think it's a great idea at all. In La Liga, you have a situation where in the early rounds of their cup, the Spanish Cup, the La Liga top flight teams have to play away at lower league teams.
Yeah.
Should that be brought in here?
I wouldn't be against it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't in the earlier rounds. We do it in Super League Challenge Cup, don't we? And it's quite refreshing. I've been that non-league player. You know, I played against Southend for Wealdstone in the FA Cup. The excitement of that, getting a home draw. I've also been a non-league player, being drawn away at Swindon, you know, and getting battered there. But for me, I think that would be fair. I think if you're a lower league team, and what we class as a lower league team, I'm not sure. Certainly a non-league team. Any non-league team that gets to the third round of the FA Cup, I think that they should be given the home tie if they want it. They can financially switch it if they so wish, but to give them the choice, I wouldn't be against it.
Are you messing with the FA Cup?
Maybe.
Outrageous.